Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing this morning? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and episode 5 of The Mandalorian just dropped, the Gunslinger. And this is my review and my reaction, my kind of instantaneous thoughts on it. So there will be spoilers going forward, but I think at this point, if you're watching these things, you kind of already know that, right? Just how when you're watching this particular show, you can see just every single kind of Western trope you could think of being used in this first season. And it's starting to wear a little thin, if I'm being honest. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's more like I just wish the episodes were longer so we could just get a bit more story and not be completely speeding along at breakneck speed, because I just want to marinate in this world a little bit more. Now, I rewatch all the episodes. I rewatch them at least 2 or 3 times in order to truly enjoy it. But still, it's like I'd like there to be just a little bit more in order to really dive in. So when I look at something like this particular episode, it's a little bit all over the place, but I think it's building to something. So the episode starts with Mando in a dogfight with another bounty hunter who is tracking him down after the situation on Navarro. He gets well, he wins, but he ends up getting really injured, and he's losing a lot of fuel. And the next place he can go is Tatooine. So he goes to Mos Eisley Spaceport. And I was hoping he was going to land in Hangar 94, but turns out he was in Hangar 35. So close, yet so far. And that was really awesome that he actually went to Tatooine, that he went to Mos Eisley, and then when he lands at the docking bay, there's a mechanic there who's actually played by Amy Sedaris, of all people. And there was a complaint that I saw with the first episode where people were saying that the comedians that came in, like Brian Pashurn, I think that's his name, and Horatio Sands, didn't really seem to fit the mold for what this show was trying to be. And in the last couple episodes, they haven't really had any comedians show up. I mean, we know Bill Burr is coming, but for right now, it just kind of feels a little bit out of place when you're looking at Jerry from Strangers with Candy being in the episode as a mechanic without any eyebrows. That being said, though, my jaw hit the floor when they went to Mos Eisley. My jaw hit the floor with a huge smile on my face as they flew over Mos Eisley. And of course, when you see the little mushroom droids or whatever they're called from the Phantom Menace, my heart immediately sang, and I was like, "That's so cool! That's so Dave Filoni," because he wrote and directed this episode. And what I like about it was, he gets there and he's like, "Look, no droids." He's still off of droids. Wants a woman to fix it. She says okay, but he leaves Baby Yoda and he heads off into town to try to find work. To where does he go? Oh, he goes to the cantina, and it looks remarkable. Like 1977 was simply yesterday is what it looks like. It was great. And of course, he meets a character named Toro Callahan, who is another bounty hunter. And this is where, again, we go into the Western trope themes. We go into the Unforgiven aspect of it, where it's a new bounty hunter trying to make his name by going after a much more difficult mark than he could ever potentially get, needing to hire Mando to help him to do it. And this one, they're checking out Fennec, who is an assassin for all of the crime guilds, including the Hutts, played by Ming Na Wen. And I was waiting for her character to show up because I'm a huge Melinda May fan. I've been a Ming Na Wen fan since Street Fighter back in 1995. So I was very happy that she popped up in this, and I was hoping she was going to have a bigger part. But then again, these episodes are like 36 minutes. I think this one is 31 minutes when you get through the credits, or if you cut out the credits and the minute 30 recap. So these are just not long episodes, and there's so much going on. I just want to marinate in it. God damn it. So he gets hired by Toro. They head off on some speeder bikes in order to go and track across the Dune Sea. What was great about that, though, is there's a ton of callbacks to A New Hope, right? Which was pretty great. I loved the Tusken Raiders, that we ended up seeing those, and that Mando negotiates with them in order to get passage across the Dune Sea. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a nice little throwback. And then, of course, there's a dewback that's out there with a dead bounty hunter on it, and that's just, again, a nice callback, a really great callback. So they end up tracking down Fennec. They're able to capture her with relative ease, because again, you're talking 30 minutes. It's very quick to get to. Mando decides to head off to try to find that dewback. Toro and Fennec are left there, and of course she tells him about the Bounty Hunters Guild on Navarro, that a lone Mandalorian shot it up and stole the target, which happens to be a small child, and that his Beskar armor is worth more than her bounty, and that if he brings in Mandalorian, he will be hailed as a legend. His name will be legendary. You saw that in the trailer. She wasn't talking to Mandalorian. She was talking to Toro. And so Toro shoots her, which I thought my jaw hit the floor when he shot her. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to I was expecting her to double cross him as soon as he took off the binders. But the fact that he shot her shows he's far more cutthroat than we originally thought. Like, this dude comes across as kind of inept, but that's potentially his charm, right? That's his whole thing. His whole thing is that he's super inept, and he does it on purpose. So people think that, they lower their guard around him. Of course, Mando comes back, finds her dead body. He takes off, goes back to the hangar, and finds the speeder, goes back and sees that Toro has got Amy Sedaris as well as Baby Yoda held hostage, and he wants to take Mando with him. Mando basically just distracts him with a flare, pulls out his blaster, and shoots him once and kills him. And that's basically about it. And then from there, they give the money that Toro had to the mechanic. They get back on the ship and they take off into space. And that's the whole episode in a nutshell. Not a lot happened, but it was still a solid episode, because there is right there at the end a little thing. We don't know what this means just yet, but we're getting to the point. So someone that we don't see who tracks Fennec down and finds her body and walks over and kneels next to her. It's someone wearing a long cape, and it cuts to black. Now, who is that person? My money on it right now is flat out, it's Grief Karga. I'm hoping that Fennec is still alive and that they're able to find a way to revive her, and then they bring Ming Na Wen with them to hunt Mando down. That's what I hope. Kind of one of those things where it's like, look, the Bounty Hunters Guild is after you. There's there's a tracking puck on you. Clearly, we can maybe find a way to distract from the fobs. You help us. We give you your freedom. We never saw you. That sort of thing, which would be a really cool setup. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but it'd be really cool if they did, because that would show you that they're really just wanting to take on Mando. But still, we've got 3 episodes left. We haven't even introduced Giancarlo Esposito. We haven't seen any of that stuff yet. There was no Cara Dune in the episode. I mean, is it just Mando and Baby Yoda and everyone else is just a guest star? I don't quite know if that's the case at this point. I know there's other shots of Cara Dune that we've seen from promotional photos, so she clearly comes back in later on. It just kind of sucks that it's like these episodes are so short, and they're good, they're great, they're awesome. Again, the cinematography, the effects, the music is still so good. And it's such a fun show to watch that it's one of those things where it's like, I'm happy that it's week to week so I can talk about it and live in that world for a little bit. But I really wish I could get to the next episode. And that, of course, is the entire point of this show. It's that it's designed and created in a way that keeps you wanting to watch. And I'm hoping that the next season is a little bit longer, or as we get to the final 3 episodes where they're going to set up the arc for the next 3 with this next one, which will be directed by Rick Famuyiwa. I'm probably mispronouncing his name. And then, of course, right before Rise of Skywalker is going to be directed by Deborah Chow. And I do still think that episode is going to end up tying in directly with the Rise of Skywalker, especially if this whole Baby Yoda cloning thing, which seems to be an ongoing theory based on Dr. Pershing and the Camino cloner patch that he's wearing, and there's that. And I've been watching through Clone Wars right now, trying to see if there's any kind of tie-ins from the Clone Wars show with Mandalorian. I already went through the Mandalorian arc, right, with the Duchess of Mandalore and Death Watch and everything. And I think these guys are more of the hardcore tribe. The Purge wiped out Mandalore, so they're going back to their old ways, the strict religious type, the born again type people. You know who I'm talking about? That's kind of what I think is happening here, but I could be wrong. Again, we have to wait and find out. My only real complaints on the episode was that it just it's just too short. It happens so fast again, and it kind of works, but it's starting to kind of wear thin when you can already pretty much tell where the plot's going to go, what's going to happen, so on and so forth, and that's kind of taking away from the coolness factor of it. However, the nostalgia of going to Mos Eisley and the fact that Toro did, shoot Fennec when I didn't think he would, kept me on the edge of my seat and very much happy with the episode. So I'm not complaining about it in regards to me not liking it. I still loved it. Still going to watch it again tomorrow morning, as I tend to do. but there are definitely problems with the episode overall that are that are, I don't want to say it's Dave Filoni's directing or writing. It's just the format they chose for the show. There's a lot going on there, especially if this one was kind of ripping off Forgiven a little bit, because that's a long ass movie with a lot of exposition. The fact that there's very little exposition is I think going to cause a problem for a lot of people. But I could be wrong. You could think differently than me. I do want to hear your thoughts, your opinions on this one. Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? What's your favorite part? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys are new here and you watch my Mandalorian reviews, please hit subscribe, click on that bell. Because of course, every Friday I'm back with a new review, and I really do want to hear your thoughts. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. May the Force be with you, and bring on the next episode of The Mandalorian. This video is supported by patrons like you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo.